a frequency no one believed in, a woman who refused to forget, a key hidden behind a memory, a mirror that didn't reflect, a voice reaching across time, and one question that haunts every silence: what if he never left? Radio Frequency 87.5, the story of a love that resists fading, every Friday at exactly 7:07 p.m. Lena would turn the dial on her old kitchen radio. Among the static, a familiar silence echoed. No music, no voices, but he felt present, or at least Lena believed he was. Frequency 87.5. The station hadn't broadcast anything in 3 years, yet Lena sat there every Friday placing her old kettle on the stove, waiting, hoping to hear a single note, maybe a whisper, maybe his voice, because her husband had gone missing on a military mission exactly 3 years ago, and the day he vanished, he left Lena just one note: turn on 87.5 every Friday, no matter what. Lena told no one. They wouldn't understand. No one would. Sometimes she could hear his breathing, other times a melody, the same one they danced to the night they met. The first time Lena heard his voice clearly, it was raining. The windows were fogged. Through the static came a whisper, but this time it was a word, clear and sharp: don't trust them. Her heart nearly stopped, as if dream and reality had collided on the same frequency. For the next 3 days, Lena didn't sleep. The radio stayed on, day and night, but silence had returned. Nothing. Again. Then on the fourth morning at 5:15 a.m., a new message came through. They are listening. Bury the photo. The key is behind the photo. Lena froze. Her eyes landed on the dusty picture frame that had sat on the table for years, a wedding anniversary photo. She turned it over, a small scratch on the back. She ran her fingernail across it, cracked it open, and there it was. A key. The radio fell silent. The lights still worked. The power was on, but the signal was gone. Lena clenched the key in her palm. It was cold, heavy, but the real weight was inside her. This wasn't a drawer key. This was for a door. Her mind went straight to her father's old study. No one had entered it in years, not even her mother. She climbed the stairs in silence. Each creaking step echoed like unanswered questions in her chest. At the door, she turned the key. The door opened. A chill greeted her. No windows were open, yet the curtain swayed. On the center table there was a tape recorder, an old one, a single note on top. Play me, only once. She slid the cassette in, pressed play, silence at first, long enough to hold your breath, then, Lena, if you're hearing this, they've already noticed you. Their eyes aren't always above. Sometimes they're behind mirrors. There wasn't just one key, Lena. There's another. And it was hidden from you. Suddenly she paused, because at that moment, a footstep creaked from the empty room upstairs. Lena's heart skipped a beat when she heard the sound coming from upstairs. That sound wasn't just a creak. It was familiar, as if he had heard those steps once. She moved toward the staircase, each step slower than the last. As she reached the second floor, her eyes caught a dusty family photo hanging on the wall. Summer of 1982. And a detail he had never paid attention to until that day. A child, playing with a black teddy bear in the background. He was sure that the child was not in the photo before. She reached the top. The door to the empty room was slightly ajar. She pushed it open. Inside, a single wooden chair, and someone sitting in it, back turned, shoulders hunched, head lowered. Lena tried to speak, but her voice was lost in her throat. Then the figure turned, and what she saw stopped time. The face in front of him was his own face, older, fragile, terrified. The elder Lena spoke. In this house, time isn't a straight line. Every silence, every choice birthed another version of us. When you unlocked that door, you freed me. Lena couldn't breathe. She stared into the eyes of her older self, eyes that had seen too much, waited too long. The old Lena spoke again, her voice trembling. There are things buried in this house, not beneath the floorboards, but inside you. Memories you've locked away. The younger Lena stepped closer. She felt something shift inside her, a whisper beneath her skin. The older version rose slowly from the chair, each movement echoing with decades of silence. She handed Lena a note, crinkled, yellowed, but unmistakably written in his handwriting. Only memory unlocks truth. And then she began to fade, not vanish, fade, like a memory slowly letting go. Lena reached out, but her hand passed through thin air. Gone. Only the note remained. Lena stood alone in the room, the silence thicker now, like the air itself knew. She looked down at the note again, his handwriting, that slanted curve in the letter R. He always wrote like he was in a hurry to be understood. Only memory unlocks truth. She whispered it aloud, and in that moment, a faint hum returned to the radio downstairs. The frequency, 87.5. Her heart skipped. She rushed back down the stairs, the wood groaning under her every step. The house was darker than before, or maybe it just felt that way now. She reached the kitchen. The old radio sat idle like it had for years. She turned the dial. Static, then silence, then a sound, a soft melody, 2 notes, repeating. It was their song, the one he hummed the night before deployment, the last time she saw him. Lena closed her eyes. Memories flashed. His laugh, the touch of his hand, the way he always made tea too strong. She whispered, "I remember." And then, click, behind her, a hidden door she had never noticed creaked open. Lena turned slowly. The hidden door stood ajar, barely wide enough to see the edge of a staircase spiraling down into darkness. She hesitated. A scent drifted up, damp wood and something older, like forgotten paper. She took a breath, one hand on the wall for balance, and stepped through. Each step creaked with history, not just the house's, but her own. It felt like walking into a memory someone else had written. At the bottom, a narrow hallway. Dim light flickered from a bulb swaying gently above. Dust danced in its glow. There, at the end of the corridor, a steel door. No handle, just a circular indentation in the center. She reached into her coat pocket, almost without thinking. The key, the one that fell from behind the photo. She pressed it into the circle. A soft click. The door slid open with a low groan, revealing a small concrete room. No windows, just a single desk in the center, and on it, a reel-to-reel tape recorder still humming. Next to it, a sealed envelope. Her name, Lena. Lena sat down slowly, her hands trembling as she opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper, yellowed with faded ink. But the handwriting was unmistakable. His. "If you've come this far, then you still believe. You always did. That's why I chose you." She unfolded the rest of the letter. The truth they buried wasn't just about me. It was about us. What we saw, what we tried to stop. This place, it was never just a house. It was a vault. And this frequency, 87.5, was a back door they never expected anyone to find. If you play the tape, everything changes. But once it starts, it can't be undone. I'm sorry. Her fingers hovered above the play button. The silence roared. And then she pressed it. The tape whirred to life, clicking gently as the reel turned. His voice filled the room, clearer than ever. Lena, I never stopped trying to reach you, even when the world forgot me. I knew you'd come back. I knew you'd listen, because you more than anyone understand that love isn't loud. It's persistent. Lena's eyes filled with tears, because in that moment the past, the present, and whatever was coming, all felt like they had finally converged. The tape crackled and his voice grew quieter, like he was speaking from somewhere far, far away. They'll try to stop you now, but it's already too late for them, because the moment you walked through that door, the signal awakened something they couldn't erase. Suddenly, a thud echoed above. Lena froze. The ceiling light flickered, once, twice, then steady again. His voice returned. They buried the evidence beneath lies and time. But you carry the last piece, that key you found. It's not for a door, it's for memory, yours. Lena felt her breath catch. Remember what we saw, the room under the lake, the mirrors that didn't reflect, the voices only we could hear. Each word pulled Lena deeper into something ancient, something hidden not just from the world, but from her own mind. They wiped it from the records, but not from you. And then, silence, not the kind that comes from an empty room, the kind that waits. Lena stood up. The air felt heavier now, and in the far wall, behind layers of peeling wallpaper, she saw it, a thin outline, like a door, not one that had ever opened before, but one that was always meant for her. She stepped closer, hand trembling as it grazed the outline. The wallpaper peeled like skin, revealing something smooth, cold, a mirror, but not one that reflected her image. This one shimmered like it held a storm behind the glass. Etched into the frame were the words, "Truth has no reflection." Lena whispered, "What do you want me to see?" And then her breath fogged the glass, but not from the outside, from the inside. A silhouette appeared, small, a child. The shape pressed its hand against the mirror. Lena hesitated, then lifted her hand to match it. The moment their palms aligned, the mirror rippled like water. A single word escaped from behind the glass. Remember. Suddenly, images rushed into her mind, fragments she'd never seen before, a hidden base, flickering lights, files stamped classified, her husband arguing with men in uniform, a map marked with a red X, and a voice, his voice yelling, "If they find out, it's over for everyone." Lena staggered back, the mirror stilled, the child was gone. But in the silence, Lena now held something in her hand, a photo, old, worn, of her and her husband, standing in front of a lake. But behind them, barely visible, a door in the water. The lake. She knew that place. It was where they spent their anniversary. The picnic, the laughter, the sudden rainstorm that felt more like a message than weather. Lena turned the photo over, a faint imprint, like pressure from handwriting long faded. She held it to the light. Letters emerged. Under the willow, 1 hour after dusk. Her heartbeat quickened. No coordinates, no timestamp, just memory. That place. It had been drained last year for maintenance, but the willow tree still stood, its roots wrapped around secrets no one dared to touch. Lena packed quickly, the photo, the key, the cassette. At dusk, she stood beneath the gnarled branches of the willow. No birds sang here. No wind dared stir the leaves. She knelt, fingers brushing the damp earth, And then metal, a small latch. She pulled. Dirt fell away, revealing a rusted hatch. No code, no lock, only a plaque eaten by time. What you bury remembers you. She opened it. A ladder descended into the dark. No choice now, just gravity and truth. The ladder moaned with each step, as if protesting her descent into forgotten things. The air turned colder, not the chill of weather, but the breath of silence. Lena's feet touched solid ground, concrete, damp, claustrophobic. A single hanging bulb flickered to life. In the center of the room, a table. On it, a glass case. Inside it, a small leather notebook. And next to it, a tape recorder. The label on the cassette simply read, Lena. She pressed play. A voice, his voice, but slower, older, like memory was dragging it through water. If you're hearing this, I failed, or you succeeded. This room isn't an answer, it's a mirror. The war was never outside, Lena. It lived in the quiet, the choices not made, the doors not opened. Static cut through the message. Then a whisper. The second key was never hidden. It was denied. Find the fracture, follow the echo. The tape stopped. But Lena wasn't alone. A sound behind her. Not footsteps. Breathing. Lena turned, slowly. Behind her in the far corner of the shelter, a mirror. But it was wrong. Too tall, too narrow, and it pulsed, faintly like a heartbeat in glass. She stepped toward it. Her reflection wavered, distorted, fragmented into pieces that didn't belong to her. A child's shoe, a soldier's hand, a wedding ring, burned on the wrong finger. Then the glass flickered, and her own image spoke. You're not just searching for him, Lena. You're searching for the version of yourself that believed. The reflection reached forward. So did Lena. But before her hand touched the glass, crack, a sharp sound. The mirror split. Just a hairline fracture, but enough to let something through. A low hum filled the room. Then a second voice. Not from the mirror, not from the tape. From inside her mind. You opened every door except the one inside. Lena staggered back. The hum grew louder, almost melodic, almost like that childhood tune her father taught her. She closed her eyes. Memories surged forward, not his voice. Heron whispers from the kitchen, laughter echoing from forgotten holidays. The moment she said goodbye without knowing it was the last time. You opened every door except the one inside. The voice repeated, gentler this time, a truth she had buried. She opened her eyes. The mirror was gone. In its place, an old door, wooden, familiar, the same door from her dream the night he left. Her hand trembled as she reached for the knob. A breath, a heartbeat, a choice. She turned it. The door creaked open, not into another room, but into a field. Golden grass swayed under a sky the color of memory. No walls, no ceiling, just light. And in the center, standing still, was him. Same uniform, same gentle eyes, but something was different. He looked older, weathered, as if time had walked through him. Lena stepped forward, barefoot on the warm earth. Is this real? She whispered. He smiled, the kind that carried both joy and apology. It's not about what's real, he said. It's about what you choose to remember. She moved closer, hand outstretched. Just before their fingers touched, he began to fade. Wait, please don't go. His final words drifted like wind. I never left, Lena, you just stopped listening. And then, silence. Lena stood alone in the golden field, the echo of his voice still suspended in the air. The wind picked up, not cold, but familiar. It smelled like old letters, worn-out sweaters, and rainy mornings like him. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet shimmered. The field began to dissolve into soft static like a radio tuning out. She blinked and was back in her kitchen. Same old kettle, same dusty radio. But on the table, where nothing had been before, lay the photo. The one she had buried, unmarked, untouched. Except now, there was something written on the back, a single line. 87.5, every Friday. Don't forget me. Lena smiled through her tears. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't alone. Not anymore. She walked to the radio, turned the dial to 87.5, and waited. If you've ever waited, ever hoped, ever listened for a voice in the silence, then tell me this. What would you do if love whispered back? Leave a comment, not just for Lena, but for the version of you who still believes in signals, in signs, in second chances. We're still listening, are you? Subscribe and turn on the signal. 87.5